Alright, today we're going to do something different, and we're back in the Jursey Devil kitchen in White City. Now, we're working on this over here. What we're working on today is this. This is T-bone. Now, T-bone steak I got from capitalmeats.com. Capital Meats, the meat man came by. A lot of us remember during the day that the meat man would always come by. Sometimes it would be in a truck decorated with all the symbols and decals that they usually have, like a few days ago. But back in the day, we would usually get them where the meat man would come around in a Buick or Pontiac and sell you the meats out of the back of their trucks. Now, this is supposedly top quality beef. It is T-bone steak. It looks like T-bone steak, and we're going to see what we can do with it. What we're going to do is we're going to hot fry this and make it look like it's grilled. Now, we have a pan over here, which I'm going to go and I'm going to make sure I oil the pan with butter. The reason why I'm using butter is because a lot of people like to use lard back in the day. A lot of times they use the animal fat, which there's a lot of animal fat on this T-bone steak right here. Same time, most people today, they like to use olive oil, which we're not going to use olive oil today because I'm not really following anybody's diet. So, let's begin. In this pan, we're going to use a regular house pan. The pan that we're using here is simple. You can find it anywhere, and it has been used. A lot of times, the questions that I made is that most people don't know the burning point of butter. We're going to find out today because I got to get a coating on the outside of the steak to make sure that before we let it braise or let it go into a cooking stage to make it medium rare or medium well. It's steak again. Some of you have gotten upset about the way I use meat. It's my meat, so I'm going to do what I want with it anyway. What we do here is to try to mimic what lard would do. We're going to keep it at a high heat to introduce the meat. Introducing the meat to it, we're going to keep it on for at least a minute on each side, and then we're going to lower the flame and let it cook while covered. Now that will cook for about 1 minute. We're going to let it do that so it can brown on the outside. After it's turned over, we're going to let it cook a little bit more for 1 minute, and then we're going to cover it and lower the flame. Now, this has been cooking for a little bit over a minute. What we're going to do is we're going to turn it over. We're going to turn over one side so you can see how it's starting to brown and cook. Now we're going to leave that for about 1 more minute before we lower the flame and we cover it. Okay, now you can see as the juices are rising through, what we're going to do now to make sure that it is going to be cooked completely through, at least leaving it medium rare, and at most leaving it medium well. So what we do now is we take a cap and we cover it. And we lower the flame. Now the flame was set to medium-high. We're going to set it to low and let the cooking take its process, and we're going to check back with that in about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, now what we've done, we let it stay on there a little bit longer at a low heat to make sure that we were getting the consistency that we wanted. Now, you can look at these pieces of meat. You can see them as coming off the bone. They're basically cooking in their own juices, and they're basically ready to be consumed. Now, some of you who don't like rare meat or medium rare meat or red meat, and you probably don't want to see this, but you know, actually if the meat is cooked properly, you have an understanding of what it's supposed to taste like. Okay? But again, if you don't like rare meat, don't do this. We're going to take one, we're going to plate it, we're going to let it rest. Now we're plating this and letting it rest for about 3 minutes. 3 minutes is really all you need before we cut into it, and then we'll see exactly what we have. Here you have the finished steak. It has been rested, and we're going to start cutting into it so you can see what it's supposed to look like. Now, for most of you, because it is a thin steak, you can see that in this area there's a little distinction. Now that is medium well. Some people have their own determination of it, of what it's supposed to be, but that is a prime steak and how it's supposed to be cooked. In most things, if you have made this and you've made it the way you want it, and it does taste delicious, you can make it again for all your friends. But like I said, if you don't like it and it's medium well, still again, this wet, we'll eat it. Thank you. Jursey Devil's Kitchen. Yeah.
美味しいです。